your nation, your province, your southern Alberta. From the heart of Lethbridge, it's Bridge City News Weekend Edition.
Hello, I'm Naveen Day. Thanks for joining us this Saturday, October the 11th. World leaders are expressing hope for peace after Israel and Hamas agreed to the first phase of a U.S. peace plan. Prime Minister Mark Carney welcomed the news that Israel and Hamas have agreed to a plan that would pause the fighting and see the terrorist group release the 20 living hostages in exchange for some 2,000 Palestinian prisoners. But Carney says the two sides must follow through.
It is a day for optimism. I want to salute, of course, President Trump, whose decisive leadership has made this possible, Mr. Kushner, Mr. Witkoff, the Qataris, the Egyptians, Turkey, who've been essential to getting to this moment. The next 48 hours are crucial. We urge the parties, particularly Hamas, to follow through, release all the hostages, and including the deceased hostages. The President and I discussed in the White House how Canada can support this process. We are supporting with humanitarian aid. There's other mechanisms that we can do to support it. And I urge, as I say, I urge all parties. We're encouraged. We're encouraged, but it's the first phase, and there's more to come.
Following Israel's ratification of the peace deal, U.S. President Donald Trump said he will be sending around 200 soldiers to Israel to monitor the ceasefire between Israel and Hamas. Thursday afternoon, Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre congratulated President Donald Trump on securing a, quote, historic Gaza peace deal and called for Hamas to release its hostages.
This could be the beginning of a very beautiful, peaceful period in Middle East history. Let's all hope it is. But it took his leadership, his diplomacy, and his strategy in order to secure this deal. And it is up to Hamas now to respect its side, hand over all of the hostages, and disarm itself, stay behind the line, and allow the peace to go forward.
An Israeli military spokesman says troops have completed their withdrawal to the deployment lines in Gaza a few hours after the ceasefire officially went into effect. Earlier, an Israeli security official speaking on the condition that he remain anonymous told the Associated Press that the military would control around 50% of Gaza in their new positions. Under the deal, Israeli troops have withdrawn to new positions, and all 48 hostages still in captivity are expected to be released in exchange for 2,000 Palestinian prisoners. Two Freedom Convoy leaders were breathing a huge sigh of relief Tuesday in an Ottawa courtroom. Tamara Leach and Chris Barber are not going to jail. They were both given conditional sentences after being convicted of mischief for their roles in the 2022 protest movement that gridlocked Ottawa's downtown core for several weeks. Both have been sentenced to 12 months of house arrest and another 6 months abiding by a strict curfew. Barber and Leach must do 100 hours of community service as well. There was applause and standing ovations in the courtroom after the sentences were announced. The government is still trying to seize Barber's truck, known as Big Red. He will be back in court virtually to deal with that in November. According to Toronto Sun columnist Brian Lilley, the sentence from Justin Heather Perkins McVeigh was still heavy-handed.
Let's remember that both Tamara Leach and Chris Barber were charged and convicted with mischief. 18 months is still too harsh of a sentence when you look at what people get for serious crimes in this country. Far too harsh. Should they have received something? Well, based on precedent, yes, something, but not 18 months. And I know their supporters will say they shouldn't have received anything. This was great. This was wonderful. Well, they did break the law, and we can't argue that fact. It's just, how does the law respond to that? The Crown, in this case, wanted a 7-year sentence. The Crown asked for a 7-year sentence on this. That is beyond ridiculous.
In Alberta news, teachers walked off the job on Monday with all 51,000 of them now on the picket lines. Last month, members of the Alberta Teachers Association overwhelmingly rejected the government's latest offer, which included a 12% pay raise over 4 years and a government promise to hire 3,000 more teachers to address class sizes. Teachers and their supporters gathered for a rally outside the legislature last Sunday, saying it's clear they're looking for, despite Premier Smith's claim that the union is disconnected from what frontline educators want.
My mom is a teacher, or retired teacher, and I support her, and I've also worked in public education, and it's just severely underfunded, and the UCP is not doing a great job with it. And the kids deserve more, and so do the teachers and everyone else that works in schools.
It's pretty clear to me. I think it's something that we've been asking for many years, and not only looking for the raise, but looking for conditions in classrooms that actually allow us to do our job the way it's meant to be done.
The ATA says they have initiated a formal bargaining meeting with the Teachers Employer Bargaining Association and the mediator for this Tuesday. Finance Minister Nate Horner says the government is happy to return to the table and expects the union to have an offer to present. That same afternoon, as teachers went on strike, the Alberta Teachers Association was notified that teachers are going to be locked out as of October the 9th. The ATA said that was expected, and despite that, talks with the government are continuing. The shockwaves of the strike action have been felt throughout the province, including here in Lethbridge, with students and parents expressing mixed emotions. A group of students gathered outside Winston Churchill High School to rally support for their teachers and say they plan to remain there every day for as long as the strike may last. BCN's Landon Hickok filed this report on Monday.
These students from Winston Churchill High School have opted to return to school this week, at least in front of their locked front doors, as they rally support for their teachers to onlooking passerbys by the school's entrance.
There's this thing called the bystander effect. So me and my brother, we organized this, Miles Angel. And so, yeah, we organized this because we didn't really see any action being taken. And it feels good supporting our teachers because they really need it in this time. Class sizes are huge. They aren't being treated well.
Nearly 750,000 students in Alberta are now locked outside of their classrooms and school-linked extracurricular activities. And many here in Lethbridge are vocally critical of the provincial government, unable to come up with a deal with their teachers.
I think it's really upsetting that we have to get to this point where Danielle Smith and the UCP are refusing to improve our class conditions, and we've had to resort to striking and causing more children to be behind and teachers to lose their paychecks for an unknowable amount of time.
Parents are now left with government support, which includes a payment program and a curriculum-centered at-home learning toolkit. The Alberta Teachers Union says they're happy that these have become available. Despite this, the union's executive director says there's confusion among parents regarding negotiations between what is wanted and what is offered for the teachers.
We are afraid that both sides have been using the conflict to score political points. Parents have already experienced school closures during the pandemic, and we saw the effects on kids from the pandemic, and especially on the most vulnerable kids. The effects of the pandemic school closures have resulted in a lot of the classroom complexities that teachers are raising now. We certainly hope that this strike abates quickly, that we can come to another agreement and see children back in school.
ATA President Jason Schilling on Monday said that Alberta schools are in crisis and remains the lowest per student funded schools in the country. For Bridge City News, I'm Landon Hickok.
Alert's Internet Child Exploitation Unit has made multiple arrests across Alberta and here in Lethbridge over what they're calling vast collections of alleged child sexual exploitation material. Operation Ice Storm, which began in June, uncovered more than 405,000 images and 11,000 videos. Officials call it some of the, quote, most graphic content they've ever seen. 7 arrests were made, including 5 from Calgary, 1 from Lethbridge, and 1 in Red Deer, and involved the seizure of more than 40 computers and electronic devices. All suspects arrested between the months of June and August are charged with possession of child pornography pornography, access to child porn, and making child pornography available. Alert does not believe any victims are from Alberta or if any hands-on offenses took place. The impact of the Canada Post strike is being felt across the country, but it's not just individuals missing bill payments or regular mail. Businesses, institutions, and charitable organizations are also being affected. The Chinook Regional Hospital Foundation is facing challenges as it tries to plan its Christmas Tree Festival Gala on November the 19th, 2025, and their annual year-end Lights of Hope campaign. This campaign raises critical funds for equipment, special projects, and programs that directly benefit patients and families at Chinook Regional Hospital and throughout southern Alberta. Crystal Elliott, CEO of the hospital, shares more about how the strike is affecting their work.
The mail strike has created real challenges for local charities like ours. This is the time of year when many people send their holiday or their year-end gifts by mail, and every day of delay affects how quickly donations can be put to work, helping people in our community. 40% of our seasonal donations normally come through the mail. With delivery interruptions, that means that vital funds for patient care and medical equipment can be delayed. We can't move forward without those donations. We're encouraging all of our supporters to connect directly with their favorite charities. We're fundraising for our Bringing Hearts Home cardiac campaign, for our MagSeed MagTrace breast cancer project, for some cancer surgical equipment, and all of those things are impacted by the postal strike and the delay in donations. So our Christmas Tree Festival, generally speaking, raises about $180,000 a year. We need to be able to sell our gala tickets. We had about an almost 15% reduction in donations due to the postal strike last year.
Well, the weather may be cooling down here, but things in Lethbridge are certainly heating up as we inch closer and closer to our civic election. We have the highlights and the drama next. Welcome back. We begin this part of our show with a look at the local political scene. Mayoral candidates face some tough questions from the public in a forum held by the Lethbridge Public Library on Tuesday night. As BCN's Landon Hickok tells us, it was a high-spirited event provided with some thought-provoking questions to local governance.
Incumbent candidate Blaine Hagan will now have to fight to keep his seat, as within short notice he will be facing 3 candidates vying for the spot of Lethbridge mayor: Quentin Carlson, Michael Petrakis, and Ryan Meny. All 4 faced a series of questions from a panel of local media, which included our very own Jeanette Roche, plus more from attending residents, many with their own concerns and queries.
I think it went really well. A lot of great questions, and some, they're tough questions, but this is what we need to expect. We need to expect there's going to be tough questions, and I learned a few things of communication.
I appreciate a lot of the questions that were asked. I appreciated the turnout as well, that it was pretty much a full room. We have a responsibility to show up here, and for me, it's the greatest honor and the greatest duty to do so.
New candidate Ryan Meny changed his bid last minute from city councillor to mayor before the deadline for candidate submission was up. A former 2-term city councillor for the city of Campbell River, British Columbia, he says his platform aims to lower taxes, create public safety, and build the ever-contested 3rd bridge across the Old Man River Valley.
You know, there's so much potential for Lethbridge. We're in an okay place right now. I say that because we still have the hard-hit manufacturing sector with over 4,000 job losses that haven't been addressed by anyone directly and openly. And again, we want to champion that. As a mayor, I want to find whatever I can do to help those people, keep them in this community, and find the resources that they need to find that next job and stay here as a great resource and the people that make this city great.
Quentin Carlson says he wants his campaign to bring in more accountability from city officials and to create public trust, as well as to make the city more affordable to live in. As for Michael Petrakis, one of his main priorities for Lethbridge is to develop self-sustaining economics to prevent investments from flowing outside the municipality.
The most important thing to do is elect someone who's planning on reinvesting in our community to create actual economic prosperity that's regenerative and self-sustaining, because the big corporations, they want to create our dependency on them. And the exact same thing with investing in regenerative industries so that we don't depend on these multinational corporations, because it's going to come back and bite us in the ass.
Throughout the night, most questions and rebuttals seem to target Higgin and many the most, involving their policies and some past controversies.
We're all here to do what best we can for our community, and anyone there can do that. And I'm not going to discount them, because I just know that I can hit the ground running from day one. And I already have the relationships built with the provincial and federal level. And from day one, we're not going to lose any momentum. We're going to keep rolling forward.
For Bridge City News, I'm Landon Hickok.
BCN was unable to speak to Quentin Carlson at the conclusion of the event. Tuesday's mayoral forum also shed light on a brewing controversy surrounding the naming of what is now the visitlethbridge.com arena. A member of the audience raised the issue of an alleged conflict of interest involving Mayor Blaine Higgin. At issue is the claim that the city approved $400,000 in destination marketing fees to pay for the naming rights of the arena. The program manager for visitlethbridge.com is Shilpa Stalker, a longtime supporter of Higgin.
Visit Lethbridge is also a supporter of yours via the Mayor's Barbecue and invites to the chuck wagon races on the community dollars. As well as Shilpa is a donor of yours specifically. Did it occur to you that it could be a conflict of interest to rename the arena of the Sportsplex to visitlethbridge.com, considering your personal relationship with Shilpa?
There's absolutely zero conflict of interest. If there was, it would have been challenged from my colleagues, or somebody would have wrote in that if there was a conflict of interest. I don't know why it would come out now, years later, literally. We have an organization that does incredible work within our community and does that work without the cost to taxation. So I know a question is asked by someone that is highly supportive of probably increasing funds to another organization, but they're under review right now, and we're going to look exactly to make sure that the dollars that are going to those organizations are benefiting the community of Lethbridge.
The next day, visitlethbridge.com fired back at mayoral candidate Ryan Meny, accusing him of raising this issue in an unsolicited email being sent out to voters. The online platform, which is operated by the Lethbridge Lodging Association, took exception to Meny's suggestion that it's a private interest group representing big hotel chains. The association says it's made up of a mix of locally owned and branded hotels that collectively employ thousands of Lethbridge taxpayers, generate millions of dollars in annual economic activity, and play a vital role in supporting local events and tourism initiatives that benefit the entire community. The group has formally requested that Mr. Meny issue a correction and apology to all recipients of his unsolicited email. After Tuesday night's forum, Meny admitted he has faced some backlash over these emails.
I have a team that is collecting email addresses for people throughout our region. Their methods, they share with me that, we were putting out a blast. Where they get those individually, I can't say. I've actually been shocked by the response of people who don't want to be communicated with. I've been shocked by someone who reached out and wanted to confirm, and I was very easily able to show them, well, your email is actually on the internet, and here's where I got it, and it was that's how we found you in that case. But also being transparent, city clerk said you can continue to communicate with people. Just the way you phrase it, and specifically the footer of your emails, there's regulations around that. Don't say specifically that you subscribed. That was an error the first time around. It's something that we're very easily able to fix. And again, if someone chooses to not want to hear from me, I'm okay, taking care of that.
And just a reminder to our local audience that advance voting is now open for the municipal election. Residents can get all the information they need at lethbridge.ca/election. You can check out voting locations and times, and when you vote, you'll get a sticker created by some local students. The city teamed up with local school divisions to launch the I Voted sticker contest. K-12 students were invited to design stickers that voters will receive after they cast their ballots. 6 different winning designs have been selected and will be available at voting stations. Can't wait to see what they look like. Residents of Medicine Hat will have plenty of choices in their upcoming municipal election. 6 candidates are vying for the mayor's seat, and 39 candidates are running for 8 councillor positions. I caught up with 2 well-known names in the mayoral race. The long list of candidates running in Medicine Hat's civic election is an indication that the community is looking for change after years of infighting at City Hall. That is according to observers and witness accounts. Despite her tumultuous first term, incumbent Lindsay Clark says she feels that if she is not re-elected, much of the progress made over the last 4 years will be undone.
I explain it as follows. You buy a house, an older house, you get in there, you start doing renos, taking down walls, and you find mold. And you got to remediate the mold to make the house healthy. That's just a fact. And I think I was a bit concerned that the new council, if I didn't run, would be tempted just to drywall right over that mold. And that was the reason why I wanted to run, so we could continue with the progress that we've already made and continue to have an exciting future that brings Medicine Hat into 2025.
Another candidate is former 3-time MLA Drew Barnes. He says his political connections will help expedite projects and initiatives faster.
Many of my past MLA colleagues have reached out to me, congratulating me for running for mayor, encouraging me and supporting me. So my connections in Edmonton will absolutely help Medicine Hat, with our government programs, with our requirements. Naveen, we're in the middle of a lack of jobs and opportunities here. Many Medicine Hatters, as much as we have a beautiful, beautiful city, want more jobs and opportunity for our kids and our grandkids to stay here. So my connections in Edmonton will only help.
Other mayoral candidates are Mark Fisher, Andy McGrogan, Alan Rose, and Chris Samraj. Advance polls are open October 14th to 18th, with Election Day on October the 20th. For Bridge City News, I'm Naveen Day. BCN reached out to the other 4 candidates, but they either declined an interview or did not respond. Turning our focus away now from municipal politics, the city of Lethbridge is moving forward with plans to retire Dave Elton Skate Park. Blair Richter, General Manager of Parks and Cemeteries, says as Lethbridge's oldest skate park, it's no longer meeting the needs of residents in terms of safety, accessibility, or long-term sustainability.
The decision follows a thorough review of, the site's conditions, park usage, and future potential of the space. We understand that this closure may be disappointing for some, but be assured that we have 3 other fantastic skate parks located throughout the city of Lethbridge. The process will actually take place right away and will take approximately 1 month to complete. So the intent is to sort of revert the site to sort of a natural state and then planning for future use at a later date.
Residents can access the city's remaining 3 skate parks: Wade Galloway Skate Park in the south, Watermark Skate Park in the west, and Legacy Skate Park in the north. The cost to remove Dave Elton Skate Park is estimated to be over $200,000, which will be financed by life cycle budgets already in place for city infrastructure. The municipal election is fast approaching, and BCN continues our series of interviews with local city council candidates and incumbents. Coming up next, Jeanette Roche chats with licensed mortgage broker Ryan Wolf, who shares his ideas on making Lethbridge a great place to live. And I sit down with Robin James, Chief Administrative Officer of the Lethbridge Housing Authority, who shares her passion for people and her vision for Lethbridge. And if you're watching us online, those full interviews are available on our YouTube channel.